I'm going to gear this one a little bit towards Kiro and Shweta and Sarah. Maybe you can kind of talk about this, but some of you are local and some of you have gone many miles to be at MCPHS. If you could talk a little bit about the community Longwood medical area in Boston and what really led you to study and do research and internships and be prepared for your next step after you finish at Mass College of Pharmacy.
What, did you want to start with the question?
Sure. Okay. Well, I think anyone, no matter where you're coming from, it's going to be a huge shock at first because it's living in a city. Like it's completely different from kind of living in your hometown. When I first came here, my biggest like struggle was like navigating how to use the T. It's really easy, by the way, don't you worry. And besides that, especially with the Longwood medical area, it was very like family like to me just because I feel like the people I was with, we were kind of all in the same boat, trying to just figure out what the city was like. And everything in Boston, I don't know if most of you guys have or have not visited, everything's relatively close in Boston. So like any times we did have off or if the weather is really nice, we would go walk to Fenway or we would take the T, check out some spots near like Prudential or Newberry and kind of go from there. Specifically more with the Longwood medical area, I was really impressed with like all the hospitals in the area as well as just the connections nearby. I like the idea there's a Starbucks that's actually a 3-4 minute walk from our campus. And it's funny, we always say it on tour too, that's like you can have like a doctor standing right in front of you and a nurse right behind. So that's like a really cool just to be kind of like acclimated in an area where the #1 hospitals are. So I think that was like the major thing for me. But when it came to adjusting, I think it's since everyone's in the same boat, everyone's kind of living by themselves or like with other people for the first time that are not like their family or like their friends. It was kind of like reassuring. Like a lot of people usually ask me if I get like homesick a lot, and you kind of forget about it after the first week just because everyone there is like so welcoming and just wants you to have like a smooth process. So
Yeah, so I also agree with Shweta about this. I feel like when I came from a very small town. I graduated with like 70 people, I believe. So it was a very, very small town. Like I knew every single person. I knew what every single person did. And coming to the big city was kind of like a big transition. But luckily there was a couple of factors that helped with that. So the first thing is we have a really, really cool residence life team that I'm going to be a part. I'm really proud to be a part of next year. So if you come to MCP, I might be your RA. I can't promise yes or no. I might be your RA. The whole thing, having a resident assistant to be like helpful and talking to you, my resident assistant was super helpful in helping with like finding a job at CVS. She told me, oh yeah, this person will help you. They'll tell you like which store needs hours, stuff like that. And also the fact that we had all the activities. So like the first week you come to MCP, you have a whole week of activities. Like it's like an activities thing. You sign up for like Godzilla. You like go out to Boston. You learn how to use the T. They take people out to Target to just like get things. So like transitioning from and being in Boston is like one of the easier things that I've had to do so far because I feel like everything around you is so supportive. And if you think that maybe the academics is going to be a little tougher, there's also a support system for you as a first year from all the teachers, as well as the tutoring center, the Center for Academic Success and Enrichment. It's called the CASE. Super helpful with emailing you, making sure that you're on top of everything and transitioning correctly and not just like, not having like, good practice as a first year to like transition from high school to how college was. Whereas.
All right, so for me, I'm actually a transfer student. I originally went to school in St. Louis University, which is quite different. It was a bigger school than MCPHS is, and I was a business major, and I finally realized that like I don't like business now. So I dropped out of St. Louis University and I took an entire year to figure out like what I wanted to do. I like pretty much knew I wanted to do medicine, but I really had to like hype myself up to make sure that that's what I wanted to do. And so after I finally was like, okay, yes, I'm going to do medicine. My next thought would be like, what do I have to do to get into medical school? And one of like the biggest things is like, it's not just about what you do during school, it's what you do outside of school as well. So for me, like where in the world is the best place to be for medicine? That would be the Longwood medical area. So like you have Joslin Diabetes, you have Boston Children's Hospital, Brigham and Women's, Beth Israel, New England Baptist Hospital, Mass General Hospital, Dana-Farber. Like you literally have all the best hospitals right there. And so that's really going to set you up to do the best that you can in medicine, because you have the leaders in healthcare literally 5 minutes away from you. So that was like my biggest thing, was like, I have to be on Longwood Medical and I have to go there. So that was really like the main reason why I came. And then from there, like freshman year, I started volunteering at Dana-Farber. And then from there, I started kind of jumping into like research at Children's and Mass General.
Thanks, guys. We have a question a little bit about student life. And I know a couple of you are involved in some of our colleges of the Fenway intramural sports. The question was, if we don't have varsity sports, are there other sports to play? I know, Leah, you were in a league this past fall, so why don't you talk a little bit about the colleges of the Fenway, as well as participating in some intramural sports?
Awesome. So if you guys don't know, the colleges of the Fenway are our school, MCPHS, Wentworth Institute of Technology, MassArt, Simmons, and Emmanuel College. And so we share resources between the 5 schools. We're all very small, but together we have a huge community. The varsity sports, I played sports in high school and I've always been active. We also share gym. I take spin classes through the colleges of the Fenway on the Wentworth campus. So there are definitely ways to keep up and stay fit. I played in an intramural league basketball team this past season. It was super fun. I was on an all guys team, it was something. I had so much fun. There is volleyball. There's the basketball, flag football. They asked me to be on their flag football team next year. So if you sign up, you'll see me there. But there are definitely so many different things that you can do. And even though we don't have the varsity sports, we have, like, if you want to go to a football game, we have Northeastern, BU, BC, Harvard. Like, we have so many schools in the area. Boston really is our campus here. And so there are so many things that you can do. So don't worry about that.
So Sarah, why don't you take this one, and then why doesn't Kiro and Henning kind of take a lead on what is there to do on campus, as well as what is there to do on the weekends? How do you enjoy your Boston student college life?
All right, so for me, I chose to participate in a couple clubs on campus, and that was really good just to expose me to new people. So there was just a couple that were really sparking my interest. So I only chose a few to really participate in, especially these last couple of years. And then generally, like during the week, the school will hold certain events. Like we have Cardinal Day. I think it's like once a month or something. And that's one of my favorite things because they always hand out like free t-shirts or like lunch boxes or like sweatshirts or stuff. So I'm getting a lot of like free shirts from them and I love that. And in addition to that, things that I usually do on the weekend, I go to a lot of concerts. So that is like my main thing. And so I had like a couple lined up to go to during this semester, but obviously that's not happening. But like the last couple of years, I've gone to a lot of concerts and that's my absolute favorite thing because you get to walk everywhere. And you don't have to worry about like parking at concerts. You don't have to worry about anything like that. So that's my favorite thing to do.
So on campus, I think Sarah touched up on a lot of them, which is, like the campus activities board and all these things. They have brought a couple things to campus. So like one night they had like a fun like distressing night. They brought like dogs like one time. They also had like barbers come to one time and give us free haircuts. I didn't go there because I know I'm not cheating on my barber and everything like that. So but then also like off campus, the school also has tickets to a lot of sporting events and a lot of, the Boston Aquarium. I know a couple other things, some kind of climbing activity. I'm not sure what it is, but they also have sometimes tickets to it. And also we have like all the movies, like AMC and Regal both have discounted tickets to them. My personal favorite thing to do is to go to Celtics games. I love watching the Celtics. I'm a big Celtics fan. And one of the things I started doing this semester and a little bit last year was right before the game, when you have nothing to do, you just finished an exam. The tickets go down really cheap, and the school sometimes even has them really cheap, so you can get them from the school or get them online really cheap, and you can just take the T down to Park Street and then switch to North Station, and you'll be right in TD Garden. You can go have fun, watch the game. You don't even have to buy anything. Like, food is too expensive sometimes. It's okay. And you can go watch the Celtics, have fun. It's like really, really cool atmosphere and things around us. The school also has, we're in the Fenway, like we're right next to the Fenway area. So a lot of people end up going to baseball games, going to Fenway area to walk around, eat food, chill over there. We were like looking at this like big thing that the city of Boston doesn't have a lot of fast food places, and like it's cool that we have like all these like different businesses and different food places and food stalls and all these things you can try. So the coolest thing in Boston is to go out and try different ethnicity food. I started trying different things. I tried going to Chinatown quite a lot because it's also down on the T, and I tried a lot of different things. So honestly, in Boston, you can just take the T, get the T pass, and go anywhere random, and you'll still have fun.
Yeah, I think for myself, one of the biggest things coming to MCPHS was that there's the misinterpretation that there's a lack of clubs and stuff, and like not a lot of stuff that the school offers. But that was kind of like thrown out the window like the first month of school, because they had this like club fair, and it's kind of like one of the Cardinal days that Sarah's mentioning. But it was really cool. It was in Evansway Park. All the clubs were there present, giving out free stuff, free candy. I think everyone brought home like a big bag full of like free stuff, like metal straws, just a whole bunch of cool stuff. And on top of that, they had a Ben & Jerry's truck giving out free ice cream. And I'm never one to say no to the free stuff. I'm the person that takes the bag and just fills it up, and probably never touches it again, but that's fine because it's free. But the ice cream is very nice. And for me on a weekend, I think a lot of my weekend activities were prompted by my floor on Treehouse. I lived in Treehouse, and it's a very social environment, but everyone on my floor is very like-minded in the fact that we like to go adventuring and stuff. So as Kira was mentioning, we went everywhere. Everywhere in Boston is a short train stop, like train ride away. 20 minutes on the Green Line, you can be somewhere you've never been before. So we would find ourselves in Alston and Boylston having hot pot at Spring Shabu Shabu, which is a very awesome restaurant. And then we went next door to Petco and bought like betta fish. So all of us now have like betta fish and stuff. And it's just a whole bunch of stuff like that that makes amazing memories that you would not get at a small town school or just living at home like we are now.
Thank you so much. So Leah, I feel like you have a really good perspective on this about bringing cars on campus, living in the city, and the safety in Boston. I know that you come from a little bit of a rural area and how you made that adjustment to MCPHS.
Sure thing. So I do come from a very rural area, and I'm like 30 minutes away from civilization, so very different than Boston. But it was such a good adjustment, and like I've been to the city so many times, and I just knew it was the right place for me. So being in the city, like everyone is saying, there's so much to do. The big adjustment for me, like I had a car like at school, like when I was driving to high school, I'd always have my car and everything. But honestly, there's so many ways to get around in the city that you really don't need a car, and it would just be a pain to have one. First, it's expensive to keep it in Boston, and second, like you have the T, you have Uber, you have Lyft, you have so many different things. There are also blue bikes, so if you want to go for like a bike ride, you can do that. There's so many ways to get around in the city, and honestly, like I thought I wanted a car on campus, but then when I got to school, I was just like, why would I ever need one? You really don't. And like everyone was saying, you can go anywhere within 20 minutes on the T, and you can end up anywhere. So you honestly don't need a car, and you'll still be able to get around just fine.
Awesome. Do you want to just follow up a little bit on safety on campus with your ID badge and how you feel about being in Boston, especially through your transition?
Absolutely. So everyone gets an ID at the beginning of the year. When you go to orientation, they take your picture. So make sure to look semi good for that, because you'll have that for a long time. Just a pro tip right there. So when you walk in, you show your ID. You have a lanyard that you wear, and that when you're walking around campus, to get into your dorm rooms and your apartment style housing, you have to tap in so that you can go into the building. And then everyone has keys. I always lock my door. The Boston area, the place that like we're in, the Longwood Medical area, I've never had a problem. I've gone places like by myself and I feel 100% safe. There's so many people around, so like nothing's going to happen. Like everyone is safe. It's a very good part of Boston, so there's nothing to be worried about for that.